So when you're considering factors like that, and you look at religion and spirituality in Europe right now, it's largely considered a joke because, I mean, what are you going to say to people? And they're going to look back at you and say, well, yeah, well, what about that back then? It didn't make any real difference or impact for you back then. So why should it be something that I consider as a life-changing thing for me right now? They got a point. And the thing is, if what we have and are claiming to share isn't meeting that real need, then what's the point? It's a business that's not meeting the bottom line, that's got a mission, a vision, and a value system, and people are looking at it and saying, no, those things are not valuable to you. That vision that you have, it's not going anywhere. And whatever you say your mission is, you're not accomplishing it. What happens to businesses like that? They don't exist for long. Another factor is that businesses, while generally existing to meet needs, it's not just meeting needs, but there's also the time factor, right? They're trying to be as efficient, as effective, as productive, to experience as much growth as possible in the meeting of those needs. That's how you turn a profit. There's this overwhelming sense that everything has to be done like right now, you got to get it done. And well, how does that translate? When Christians in spirituality try to embrace that tactic, what it looks like is these mass events and efforts to convert as many people as possible. We hear about the stories in the book of Acts about so many thousand converted in a day, and we feel like, oh man, we've got to live up to that mark and make that kind of a thing happen. And if it doesn't, well, then we weren't successful. But as Christians and as spiritual people, or individuals who respect that kind of thinking, there's this idea of eternity that comes into play. How does eternity factor into the right now equation that fills people's minds at the present? Where does that fit in? I think relative to whatever the bottom line might be, if it comes to looking at growing people as quickly and efficiently as possible, or doing my part to share something and to live the gospel truth, which I think should be the correct bottom line, then all of a sudden eternity becomes my ally and not a hindrance. And the present, the time, the whole right now, it doesn't, it loosens the grip, so to speak, in that pressure to say that if I'm not getting these results right away, then I'm failing as a Christian, which I don't think is accurate anyway. But because of how we've determined or answered the question, what is our bottom line, we feel that way. So instead, I'm able to live a life with the people around me and engage in activity with them. And there's not that constant pressure to say, oh, I need to convert this person like as soon as possible. What can I do? How can I get in? I don't have to do any of that. I can live with them. I can show Christ. I can reveal the truth, the gospel to them. And I can let God deal with time in the way that he chooses to deal with time for those people. It's not up to me to say at this present moment, I have to get that number. Otherwise I didn't succeed and the business failed. No. That kind of mentality is reflective of a mission statement that should not exist for us. That kind of mentality is reflective of values that are not in harmony with what we say we believe and what's important to us. Because it's not just about numbers. Hey, look at Jesus back in his day, right? Sure, there were a lot of people that followed him, but you don't see him begging for tons and tons of people to be a part of the group. The same times when he's sitting there talking to 12 disciples and the same time that he's there talking to a group of thousands, you don't see him begging for more people to show up. You don't see him in those moments with the small groups or where it's one person coming up looking for forgiveness saying, shoot, man, this is a failure. More people should have came up to do this. You don't see that. But we've changed what the bottom line is. And we've taken the emphasis off of how we live and how we share and how we express the gospel, the good news. And we've made it more about the result that we get from doing that. And it's changed the way that we do that for the worse, I would say. So when you look at kind of the bottom line, you have businesses that they do their thing and everything that they do is lined up towards that bottom goal. But the question for, I think, Christians and people who are spiritual is, what's your bottom line? What's your goal? And do you have a goal that might be better suited for an actual business? Or is your goal better suited for what it means to be a Christian? People engage with business every day, majority of their lives. I think when it comes to something that we say is going to change your life, people would prefer not to deal with that business anymore. That just wants you as another number. But to experience something differently that can be provided through the real mission of spirituality, through the real vision of spirituality and what's really valuable to spirituality. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. It's time to go eat. We out here. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.